I know what you're thinking, right? This is a little aggressive. Of course it is. But this is how Power Ranger fans behave these days. When you see something on the internet that you don't like, of course you're going to reply with a video, a clip from a movie, a very violent scene of a man being gunned down in response to a Power Ranger video. Not even a full 2 minutes long. I think it's just 1 minute long, even. So mad, so angry as to post something like this. Now, what am I supposed to get out of that, Riker Davis? What am I supposed to get out of that? What am I supposed to infer from this video that you have posted in which a man is gunned down in response to my Power Ranger video? What am I supposed to infer from that? That's right, probably not some good things. I'm in fact supposed to feel afraid. Right, Riker Davis? Right? I'm supposed to feel afraid because I posted a video on the internet that you didn't have to pay for, that you didn't have to even respond to. You could have just scrolled right on by. Probably would have never saw it again. But you felt so powerfully and so right and so clever posting this. Apparently, 11 other people thought it was also right and clever and smart. Now, you may say, oh, that's just 11 people. Great. Do you want 11 people thinking that it's okay to hurt you because you posted something on the internet they don't like? Do you find that to be an acceptable thing for 12 people, including Riker, to believe it is okay that someone's demise should come about due to a Power Ranger video? It doesn't matter if the subscriber count never changes. What matters is if we let the subscriber count change us. Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You don't just climb up in front of a microphone and start spouting off your opinions because you're a YouTuber. You do it because you're driven. Well, it gets worse. Here's this fella right here. He comes right into the comments section. It says, so, like, is this what's going to be playing at your inevitably near funeral? Over a Power Ranger video. And I'm right there replying to him. I misspelled real. You can see that right there. But these are real psychopath hours. Normal people don't react, right? Normal people don't react to media that they don't like by doing this. Okay? When we go out and we complain about what's going on with these live action remakes of, anime franchises, video game franchises, when we go out and we complain about what's going on with Star Wars and we make our arguments about it, I, at least, do not go out and say that any harm should come to Daisy Ridley or any actor or actress, production assistant, James Gunn, Zack Snyder. None of these people should have anything untoward happen to them because I have disagreements, passionate or otherwise, about what they believe or have done with something that I care about. I do not wish harm upon them because I disagree with how James Gunn executed the Superman movie, okay? I'm okay to dislike things. You're okay to dislike things. It's okay. That's how people get through life. Believe it or not, the negatives do more to shape your life than the positives. The things you don't like help shape your destiny more than the things you do. Okay? That's fine. That's human. You're supposed to be driven by things that make you uncomfortable. The human condition is to never be satisfied. That's perfectly fine. But when you go out and you do this, all right? That's where the line gets crossed by a lot. It's not even like a little bit crossing a line, and it's a pretty big line. You might say it's a line that's about as thick as like the law that says, don't threaten people's lives. So it's pretty broad law, pretty broad line, pretty obvious barrier where you shouldn't go with your opinions about stuff. But here we are. Okay? And again, it strays into this wild idea because we'll see this happen again with the Ninja Kidz. So here we go. I know very well that you are not making any of this shit in good faith. Also, you follow a lot of right wing assholes, and you're also a bitch. Combining Hollow Earth and Power Rangers is stupid as hell. What? It's good enough for Godzilla. Apparently, the Power Rangers are better than Godzilla. I didn't know this. Neither did any studio out there or any production company, nor did Hasbro know this. But apparently, Power Rangers are just too good for the Hollow Earth. And, it spreads the other videos that I put out about this, okay? Because once word got out that, oh boy, I got opinions about Power Rangers, now it's time to just run this guy through and accuse him of everything under the sun. So here's Ballin Plays, and he's just got those real good opinions, those real approved opinions, the checkmark opinions, the ones that say, aha, he said the right thing, it's okay to approve of this person, where I don't say the approved thing, and thus the Horde decides that I have lost my right to life, or at least the right to safety, anyway. And so, Zet's coming to the US was a mistake. Genuinely, this fandom is filled with so many very creative and passionate content creators, so it's extra infuriating when these right-wing grifters come in and use Ryder as another way to push their culture war shit and spread hate. Now, if you watch that video, I literally only talk about the first 3 episodes. I talk about the belt. I even made a neat little bumper opening for that with my own voice. Not that that's stellar or anything, but if you're gonna accuse me of just abusing AI, well, I got bad news for you, Chief. I don't. But anyway, so this is what's happened. There's a full license to accuse me of everything under the sun. Anything at all they decided to do. In fact, my right to life was invalidated because I used AI. Okay? Now, again, you might be wondering what was all the hubbub about, and it was just this right here. That's it. The tiger crawling through the cave is as far as anybody made. They were just like, this guy's obviously not a millionaire, so he obviously used AI, so it's time to lambaste him and destroy him. I mean, are you personally feeling agony? Is your bones being broken right now? Do you feel the flesh on your body just peeling away layer by layer? Am I salting the wound, perhaps? No, it's just the video. It's just the thing on the internet, like billions and billions of other videos that you haven't seen and you're never gonna see. Is it? Is it just a video? I think it's just a video, right? I might be wrong. This could be an indictment of war. This could be a declaration of war. I could literally have posted this video, and because I posted it, grillions of people, absolute grillions of people, and a body pile higher than Mount Everest could have formed. Oh my goodness. But you know what? I don't think that happened. I don't think it did. But now that the Ninja Kids have come out and then just used AI and they used AI. We're all gonna die. You know that because they used AI. It rhymes. You should put it on a T-shirt. I'm sure you'll feel great parading around with that on. So here you go. Ethan Bra. I'm not really sure what that's about. With a little girl avatar. It's not even an anime girl. That's quite literally from a children's television show for little girls. So weird. Pretty weird. Pretty weird, Ethan. Pretty weird. Pretty weird. Anyway, and this person says, I know everyone's not going to like this because of the AI, so I'm just going to say this now. The Ninja Kids family are well-known Trump supporters. And the Red Ranger actually follows Charlie Kirk on Instagram. Oh, God. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? He follows Charlie Kirk. Oh, my gosh. This could mean things, or it could just be a young guy who's inspired by another young guy, both of which were nonviolent. Still nonviolent in the case of Ashton because he's alive, and Mr. Kirk is not. And I'm told that Mr. Kirk was dispatched because he said things people didn't like. Time and time again, I'm told by the ultra feminists that Charlie Kirk had it coming. So why then would you want to tie these teenagers, and particularly the Red Ranger Ashton, why would you want to tie that to Charlie Kirk, someone whose demise was celebrated, legitimized, and normalized? Can you help me with that one? Let me know down in the comments section what your theories are about why they would want to tie Ashton, the Red Ranger, to Charlie Kirk. What that had anything to do with their Power Ranger production, right? What did that have anything to do with it? But it gets worse. So you have this person right here, and you have Kit Crap. Stellar naming. Stellar naming. And of course, this is one of those people with the fancy flag. You know, the fancy flag. Because they're fancy people with their fancy drugs, their fancy surgeries, and their fancy psychosis. Anyway, it says, this doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know why. They just seemed kind of like young right-wing actors who would have been hired during the Neo Saban era, at least based on their vibes, lol. Did I get it right, Kit? I think I did. I think I did. You have to let me know, Kit, if I got your voice right. You have to let me know. I think I did. I think I got it right. But here it is. Now this person, right? So we've got Ash here from Deoxy 360, and we'll get into him in a minute. Don't worry, we're gonna get into him. We're gonna get into him. So we've got him, and he's like, blah blah. I found this comment from one of the actors, and I'm going to tear it apart on my video. Now this person replies with, "Death row." Ethan Fischreiber here, this kid right here, this young man, has been playing Tommy, the Green Ranger, and now the White Ranger for most of his life, not his acting career. This kid was, I think, 9 years old when he started playing the Green Ranger. This series has been going on as he's grown up. He's coming to the end of his high school times. He's going to be going off to college, maybe, or at the very least, entering adulthood. So perhaps these Ninja Kidz videos might be behind him soon. And so this production means a lot to him. Let's wish harm on him for that. Let's wish harm on him for being defensive and proud of what he's invested his very young life into. That seems very heroic. That seems very much in line with may the power protect you, right, guys? That seems so based and heckin' valid, right? We even got Yellow Flash in on it. Now, in Flash's defense, he may not have been aware of the Ninja Kidz. He doesn't traffic in what we traffic in. So, you know, he's a Mighty Morphin fan. This may have gone under his radar because it wasn't promoted by official accounts. It's been Ninja Kidz, and I don't think Netflix has been promoting this because, again, this is meant to be a side project that leads into their 4K upscale of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers original series from 1993. However, you know, Flash decided to knee jerk react to this. Now, I like Flash. We talked, all right? And he has a project called The Golden Patriot, and I approve of it. It's very much Power Rangers inspired. I have my own that are Power Rangers inspired, and that's perfectly fine. No poo poo on that. But let me ask you, Flash, when this comes around for you, when you do eventually get around to making that Golden Patriot video, that Golden Patriot trailer, the Golden Patriot movie that I talked to you about, not AI, by the way. I was showing you how you could do that in your backyard, buddy. Okay? With the way VFX work now, I'm showing you how to do that. How long before they come for you? How long before they tell you what you did is invalid and that your right to life is not so good anymore, not so valid anymore? How long until they start tying you to a person who is dispatched for their political views? Right? There's a phrase that's going around and it's called take a breath. And that's what I want to ask everybody to do. So when you feel the need to come out here and make these, I don't know, these dunks, right? Take a breath. So here's the thing. The steam engine beat man's hand at carving its way through stone, okay? John Henry, the parable of John Henry tells us this, okay? Remember? He couldn't beat the steam drill, the steam boring machine, whatever you want to call it. Couldn't beat it. Guess what happened? The Titanic used to be a, cross Atlantic, ocean liner. Big thing. It was pretty much the only way, it was the only way to get across the ocean from the ye olde world to the new world. And then we invented the airplane, and the airplane was pushed to its, technological limits at the time with the DC-9. That DC-9 went on to become one of the first intercontinental flights. So, commercial flights. And guess what happened? The ocean liner, not really a big thing anymore to get back and forth. In fact, it's not really a thing to do that. The ocean liner instead is a cruise. You just go out there to have fun. You're not moving anywhere. You're not relocating, not starting a new life when you get on a Carnival cruise. Or at least I would hope you're not doing that with Carnival. But um, you do with that at an airplane. If you want to move to Japan, you're going to move to Japan with an airplane. You're not going to go by boat. That's ridiculous. And you know it. Don't lie to me. Similarly, the horse and buggy was beat out by the car. And because we have the car, it no longer takes 6 months to get across the continental US. It only takes a few days. There are several cannonball run races that have demonstrated just how quickly you can haul ass across the continental United States. Okay? Now, I don't think any of you want to give up those modern conveniences at all. In fact, you're rolling your eyes trying to be like, oh, well, AI is different. It's not. It's not. It's just the evolution of what we've already been working on since the dawn of time. That's right. The wheel arguably replaced the basket. We still have the basket, but the basket isn't really needed to do this stuff. The wheel is. You don't see an 18-wheeler that's just, a bunch of guys going down the road carrying baskets now, do you? No. That's a truck full of cargo because the way of doing things evolved. And that's how AI works. Okay? That's how this came to be. There have been several court cases that have decided that if there is a human hand involved, guess what? It's not theft. Just the same as a human hand copying art until they try to sell it isn't theft. Okay? There are many, many people out there that are very proud of being able to copy Akira Toriyama's art style. They're very, very proud that they taught themselves how to do that. The AI does it, and it's sacrilege because there wasn't time invested. And that's the only excuse I ever hear about this. However, no one, no one of these people got angry when the matte background painter was replaced with the green screen, or at the time, the blue screen. Not a one. Not a one. And when CGI replaced practical effects, you remember in the 80s when they had all these neat CGI scans of cities and things like that? That wasn't that. That was a miniature set that had lights inside of it in order to make those things light up that way. And then they ran a camera through the spots to make it look like there was a CGI rendering of a city. Yeah, because it didn't exist back then to be able to do that. Tron was done similarly. There's a bit of CGI in there, a lot of animation, but the computer generated graphics is a lot of practical effects behind it too. And I know Tron was hailed for using its CGI, but there's also a lot of practical effects behind that. But I don't hear a lot of people saying that Tron Ares should go back to ye olde Tron. In fact, I don't hear a lot of people complaining about going back to practical effects for Avengers, right? The MCU. I'm sure Thor would look very smart on a wire, just, hurtling across a miniature cityscape of New York in order to demonstrate that he can fly with his hammer. Because we don't have CGI to make him whip his hammer over his head and just disappear off into the horizon. We have to show him flying over the city in order to illustrate that he can fly with his hammer. We lack the ability to launch him now. Oh, yeah, and Iron Man's armor? Well, he won't be doing too much flying around anymore, so that's all over with. You just see Iron Man running around kicking people and punching people, like a Power Ranger, I guess. Kinda loses the intrigue of Iron Man, doesn't it? Kinda reduces him to being a Power Ranger. But hey, it's practical effects, and we don't wanna put those people out of work now, do we? Oh, wait. I'm old enough to remember when digital art was the death of human creativity. The Wacom tablets showed up and obliterated everybody's ability to think. No one was ever able to make art ever again because the computer could register pen movement now. Oh, wait, that didn't happen. In fact, art took off, and a lot of people who formerly didn't have access to it were able to do really cool things because they weren't limited to having to erase or white out their mistakes. They could just simply undo them. And then there was the great battle over 3D assets. If you open up Clip Share, not Clip Share, Clip Studio. If you open up Clip Studio, you're going to find that there's a 3D asset library. That's been there for a very long time, maybe longer than some of you have been alive. Looking at you. Did you ask your mom's permission to watch this video? Did you ask your mom? You better. But regardless, this is what I'm driving at. Okay? Now let's get into Deoxy, who decides to paint Ethan Fischreiber as a racist, as someone who doesn't write his own posts. It's not enough that this kid is going through literal hell, right? Having so many Power Ranger fans, adult and beyond, if you really think about it, just coming after him for everything under the sun, making up things about him. And then here's Deoxy deciding it's time for me to throw in and make it worse.
Bro, I appreciate you covering this and giving your initial reaction to it. It is a bigger budget than previous episodes that Ninja Kidz produced, and yeah, it's not Disney-sized budget. I know I'm wording it or changing it around, but I swear this response was written in ChatGPT or made by AI because it is a weird response.
A man from another country doesn't understand the American syntax. Wow. Wow. We better call it AI because someone who may have a different internal monologue than us, well, they're obviously cheating and using a computer to write up their stuff. But yeah. But yeah. But yeah. How many times do you hear that in a day on the average American conversation? But yeah. Apparently, only ChatGPT does that. So congratulations, you're AI now, according to Deoxy. If you use but yeah, you're an AI.
The world is absolutely moving towards using AI with everything. Ba-ba. This is what's getting you roasted online, my friend.
And this is what's going to get you roasted by history, dumbass. As I just explained, man lost the contest to the steam drill, the steam boring machine. The ocean liner lost the contest to the airplane. The book lost the contest to the internet. Do you remember the song The Video Killed the Radio Star? Again, do you want to go back to radio plays where we don't have anything to look at and we must gather around the radio at a certain time in order to hear several people perform a live performance with pots and pans to the best of their ability in a room that may or may not be acoustically adjusted for that type of performance? Does that sound like fun? Should that be the only way we do it? That way those people don't lose their jobs? Of course not. Not a single person out there thinks that. Don't even try me. Okay? You can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me.
This is what you're getting roasted for. This is why everyone's cheering you a new asshole on every corner of the internet right now. I get why some people would be off put. See, off put? Like, put off? Wouldn't that be the word?
Put off is a British term. I'm surprised, a guy from a criminal colony from Britain probably would understand British syntax better than the American because we didn't send prisoners there that were your ancestors. So, I mean, I understand your confusion.
Off put? They're both words you can use, but like just hearing it just sounds like it was made by AI.
It was not. You hear off put all the time. I use it all the time. I'm not AI. And you know I'm not AI. AI wouldn't make something this hideous, okay? AI would not make something this hideous. Don't worry.
I get why some people would be off put, I bet, by it, but dang, guys, isn't it or shouldn't it be more about how strong the story and the character development are to some degree as well? Yeah, you can have good character development and good story, but when you have like AI slop behind it, then it's not going to look good.
These are the same people, Deoxy is speaking for the same people who tore apart that 2B Power Ranger movie, the Red Ranger. Yeah. That movie got lambasted by these same people for having cheap effects and half-assing Power Rangers. So what do you want? You don't want AI, you don't want cheap effects, so what you want is you want a full multi-million-dollar production that the Ninja Kidz in no way can put on. And you know that, Deoxy. You know that. But what you're doing here is you're stirring up rage for clicks. That's ghoulish, and you know that.
It's not, it's just going to take you out of the immersion. And the thing is, so I'll read the last bit of it, then I'll make my point. So, to hate on things you had never experienced at all is like looking at a plate of chocolate and telling your mum that you're going to hate it because it looks brown, and brown foods won't taste good. This line here, a lot of people are sending me like that GIF or that clip from South Park, the one with Randy on Wheel of Fortune, where you've got the camera operator who just peeks his head out from behind the camera and just gives a look from when he says that line.
So they're trying to paint him as a racist. In that episode, Randy mistakes naggers for another word with an N and two G's in it. Okay? And so that's what they're trying to infer, is that him saying that chocolate might resemble poop without going there, without saying that, to a child's brain, because he's creating a metaphor of a child resisting having food that is pleasurable because of the way that it appears initially, a book by its cover, if you will. But Deoxy wants to frame him as a racist because he used AI. That's what just happened. That is what just happened. That's a dog whistle, a nice word that they like to use. That's a dog whistle that signals to his viewers, oh, this kid's a racist.
That's raising a few eyebrows with some people. Uh,
Just you, buddy.
just give it a try before judging, and thanks again for your honest reaction. Appreciate you. So here's the thing, and this is what a lot of people are saying, and I'm going to parrot what they're saying.
He's going to go on and talk about, the practical effects. All right. This is what he's going to talk about. And it's somebody else saying it that you can't be bothered to bring up.
Power Rangers comes from Super Sentai, which is a genre called tokusatsu, which is special effects. And the thing is, with old school tokusatsu, with Super Sentai, with Kamen Rider, there was a lot of practical effects done. Yeah, in later seasons of Power Rangers and Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, you do get some CG effects.
No, not some. Not some. Whole Zords are CGI sometimes. Whole battle scenes are CGI sometimes. The most of the effects that the Dino Thunder Battleizer, I can't remember. Let me know down below. Tricerodon. I forget what the name of the Battleizer was in Dino Thunder. Please let me know down below. But that was mostly exclusively CGI. When Shane from Ninja Storm is flying around in his Wind Dojo, Wind Clan Battleizer, something like that. Phoenix Battleizer, maybe? I think that's what it is. When he's doing that, when he's going around in that, CGI. Again, it's not what you're mad about is that you were told to be mad about this, Deoxy. Your political superiors said, this is the thing to be mad about now. AI wasn't a problem until it started breaching into the territory of where multi-billion-dollar corporations have invested a lot of money into. And now you could just do that for free or for a nominal fee over on Sora with ChatGPT. Okay? And people are mad, right? They're pretending to be mad because they're not really mad. And you're not. You know you're not because you understand what this is. You understand that this is the evolution of progress. I'm a writer. That's what I do. I like to write. I like to create. Okay? I was the first to be run down by the AIs progress, okay? And what did I do? I said, all right, I'll make it work for me. So I tell my stories using the AI to bring them to life. Now, that made me, warranted for, my demise, for dispatching, if you will. I like that word for this. For dispatching, to be dispatched from my life, okay? Because I use AI to tell my stories. It means I'm evil. It means that somewhere I have deliberately stolen from an artist. I woke up out of bed and I said, who am I going to steal from today? But no, I didn't do that, and neither did the Ninja Kids. What they did instead was they sped up development. And you want to know why I know that they did this to speed up development is because AI is quicker than a VFX artist. Feel however you like about that, okay? VFX artists would clearly do a better job because the AI is blind in what it's trying to create. If the prompt isn't solid, it gets a little hairy, if you will. And, when it comes to creating this kind of stuff, you need to be able to be patient with the AI if you're going to use the AI to do it. And here, I'll show you guys right here. This is the trailer that I recut of the Ninja Kids trailer, okay? This is me recutting it, all right? My edits are marked, so you'll be able to see where I fixed it, okay?
Playtime's over, children.
It's morphin' time.
There you go. Zed. Transformation sequence. This is all them. I didn't have a problem with the pyrotechnics. I don't think anything's wrong with it. It's just fine.
The dragon has struck again, infiltrating a high-clearance science facility.
This is Ethan going around doing this, by the way. The guy that Deoxy's trying to run down.
Jason, you must rise.
We look awesome, don't we?
And there's the logo.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And I didn't change anything after this point. So, again, ask yourself, what did they do wrong? Had they polished that AI a little more, like I did, nobody would have probably noticed. Nobody probably would have noticed. There were a couple things that, I did this really quick, by the way. I did this in 10 minutes while I was running intros on a live stream the other day. Okay? I did not sit down and work hours on that one. But what I am is patient. So when I find something that isn't working, I adjust the prompt, I go back and I use a different engine, a different generator engine to come out with the result that I'm trying to look for. Okay? And as a result, we ended up with a smoother shot, in my opinion. A smoother shot of Goldar's arrival, a smoother morphing sequence, and a smoother transformation for Lord Zed. Now, I understand why they're doing Lord Zed as a human. Obviously, he's tied to this effort to reclaim the green crystal from whoever has it right now, okay? And that green crystal is related to Tommy's powers. As related to their stories, Rita took those powers with that crystal from Tommy. These events lead into him becoming the White Ranger. They discussed this in a live stream about this, in a video too, I think. And so, again, you're not dealing with people that just pulled this out of nowhere, like, oh, we got the ticket to make Power Rangers. They've been doing this since they were kids, quite literally kids, 8-year-olds, running around in iParty or maybe a little bit better of costume for these kids, And that's what they did. And they evolved what they did. They evolved their production, things like that. And now they've arrived at a level where they want to be able to present something that feels cinematic. Okay? And time again, you know as well as I do, we were growing up with this. People complained on and on and on and on and on about how much how much they didn't like the special effects that were used in Super Sentai, that it looks cheap, that it looks campy, that it looks too bright, blah, 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 blah. You've heard it. Don't lie to me. People have complained for years that Power Rangers looks cheap. So what did these people do? What did the Ninja Kids do? They tried to remedy that. They have a YouTube budget, by the way. So they had a choice to make. Be ridiculed for 2B level effects that are most likely going to end up having to come from a stock footage usage, because they have 24 million subscribers. That's not $24 million a year that comes into them on that. Okay? And that's not 24 million. If they did, that's not 24 million that they can throw at that production. And I'll remind you, the average Power Rangers episode right now to make it here in the USA, not in New Zealand, in the USA, is north of $5 million. Go ahead, go work it out. Go price it out. I did. I wanted to make my own tokusatsu. There is no logistics network. There's nothing. Toei took 50 years to build a logistics network to present everything that they do. Okay? They own a gravel pit. That's how serious they got about this. Hasbro doesn't own a gravel pit. I promise you, Chris Cox is not walking around the Hasbro Power Rangers gravel pit right now. I promise you that's not happening. Because there's no infrastructure. There's no logistics network for it. If you're not working with Aniki, you've got to find somebody else over on Etsy in order to make your Power Rangers costumes, because there flatly is not anybody who does that anymore to the effect that you want. They want to over-design it into that weird stuff the 2017 Power Rangers had. So ask yourself, what do you want from these kids? What do you want from their parents? What do you want from them? And I'll tell you right now, oh, they should have used a VFX artist. Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter if they did or didn't. You want to know why? Because you're not going to wait for your media. You want to know how I know that? Because there's Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu for a time. There's Apple Plus. There's all sorts of other streaming platforms that have all kinds of programming to offer you. Billions of hours of content are available to you through YouTube alone. And that's not just people like unboxing things and dude perfecting around or any of that. It's none of that. It's also things like Dust. You ever hear of Dust? Look up Dust. The sci-fi movie channel. It's full of independent sci-fi films that are completely on their own. And it's a channel that aggregates them so that people can find them, because you're probably not going to be able to on YouTube because there's billions and billions and billions of hours of content available. And yet, you don't sit there and watch all of it. Why? Because, well, there's content over here to watch, and, well, there's content over there to watch. The cable news channels, they're gone. The cable entertainment channels, sci-fi is practically a memory. Most of the channels you watch on television now, your live action television, they're just commercials wall to wall. All the programming has gone to streaming. Why? Because you won't wait. You won't wait another week for your show to come out. And the network cannot afford to dump 24 episodes of a show on a 24-hour loop cycle to satisfy you, because live television, you can't like pause around and do that. You do it with TiVo, certainly, if you want to pre-record that stuff, but guess what? You have to let it air in order to record it, so you're still going to be late to the party. You're still incentivized to go to the streaming side. And streaming means that you have to have the content fast. So no, you were not going to wait a year for this. You were not going to tolerate it after a year and it looked like Tubi. So they met it in the middle and decided AI is a quicker way to do this. And that's what they did. I guarantee you. Sit down with an interview with them and ask them, why did you use the AI? And they're going to tell you because it was faster. That's it. Money aside, think about whatever you'd like about being in the budget or whatever, but it's the time. Ask anybody who's in show business. I used to be a stage actor before I got sick. I used to be a stage actor, and guess what? You have to be ready for production. You have to meet the date that you put on that damn poster when you're going to be out there doing that shit. And if stuff didn't look good, well, yes, you got to deal with it. If stuff's falling apart, you got to deal with it. And so this is the level of insanity that we're stuck with now. So you have Chrissy here, the homemade hoopla. That's just what I love, is somebody who's cutesy about their identity. So anyway, so you're trying to profit off slop that anyone can prompt on their phone? Tell me, why would anyone want this when they can make their own? Do you understand how supply and demand works? Do you see how your choices here will ultimately serve to make your efforts irrelevant? 14 seconds of AI are used in that trailer. I know, I went through and looked for it all, okay? And I work with AI every day, all the different AI generators, every day, okay? I know what it looks like. That is it. Like 14 seconds in there. The rest of it are these kids actually doing those stunts. There's no body doubles. They're the ones in the helmets. They're the ones doing the kicks and flips and putting themselves on the line if things go sour. Not you. Not you, Chrissy. I'm not sure you could fit in a Power Rangers costume, much less jump around the way the Ninja Kids are. But because of 14 seconds of AI and because you have to get that dopamine hit, because you got to go out and tell the world, I too hate the AI, please let everybody know that I am conforming with the crowd that is complaining about AI. So that I belong, so that I am part of the community. The wooden shipbuilders felt the same about the steamer when it showed up. I know, I live in Maine. They're still bitter about it. You can't talk to a wooden shipbuilder without them giving you shit about progress, taking their business away. Almost 200 years later. The reality is that if you don't choose to keep up, you will be left behind in any sector, any job, even if you're digging tunnels with your fingernails. If you are not keeping up with the guy that's using gloves, well, you're going to fall behind. This is facts. This is reality. This is where we all live. And yet so many people have decided to obliterate these kids, to go out and just accuse them of the craziest stuff, to try to make them aligned with someone who was dispatched from this world for their beliefs in order to make these kids feel scared, to feel afraid over Power Rangers, over 14 seconds of AI footage in a trailer that is not 14 seconds long. By the way, that features mostly live action footage. I notice how they're not talking about that beach scene. You know, the beach scene, the one where they're all out there doing their cool little stunts. They got one right here, yeah, where they're all out there doing the cool stunts. That's a different planet, by the way. You see that other moon back there? That's a different planet. That's not AI generated. That's a 3D asset back there. You can tell that that's a 3D asset. So what? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? Are we going to rage and cry and scream about how 14 seconds of AI, let's say that they use in the whole production, all these episodes, let's say that they use 10 minutes of AI in these brief little VFX cuts. Because again, they're brief. Let's say they use a whole half hour out of 6 hours of programming. Is the world going to end? Are you personally going to explode? I don't think so. I think the sun is still going to rise. I think the ocean is still going to stay blue. I think the air is still going to stay breathable unless you live in one of those awful cities. Like, just don't live in the city if you don't want the air to suck. It's pretty simple. And if you don't want to engage with a company that is doing its best, then don't. Up until this point, most of you didn't know the Ninja Kids even existed. Now they are destroying Power Rangers single-handedly. Whereas had you not ran into that post, you would have never have known that they were doing anything related to Power Rangers. Think about that. A month ago, a week ago, 5, 4, 3 days ago, you didn't know who Ashton, the Red Ranger actor, was. You didn't know Ninja Kids had a deal with Netflix, not directly Hasbro, as Netflix was authorized by Hasbro to negotiate deals like this to promote the content that Netflix is licensed to air. Broadcast, whatever you want to call it. So there you go. What a surprise, right? Let me know what you think down in the comments below about this insanity. And if you've made it this far in the video and you still want my head, well, I appreciate it, okay? Feel free to hit that downvote button if you feel so possessed to do so. But as always, guys, there's a lot of reasons to get hot under the collar, to get mad at weirdos like the O.R.C.A who goes after teenagers for clicks. There's a lot of reasons to do that. We must ask, and we must remain cool in our heads, okay? Good luck out there.